very good afternoon to you. You're just in time for NTV at One. My name is Zainab Ismail. Now, the hearing of the case against city lawyer Asa Nyakundi, who shot his son dead, is ongoing at the Milimani Law Courts. Director of Public Prosecutions Nurdin Haji had filed to have the lawyers charged for murder. But Nyakundi's lawyers have been putting up a spirited fight, arguing that the charges of manslaughter are still pending at the Kiambu Law Courts, and hence the two cases cannot run concurrently. Now, currently, Justice Luka Kimaru is hearing the submissions from the prosecution and the defense. Our reporter Mel Miendo is following up on that story. Mel, what are the main issues in court today?
Zainab, it's a case that has a lot of intrigue. So today morning, when the hearing was being mentioned at the Milimani Law Courts, the issue is that in the morning it was about, say, about 9 a.m. And so from 9 a.m. until about 12:30 p.m., because that hearing has just ended a few minutes ago. And so at that time, the defense and prosecution was appearing before Justice Luka Kimaru. And the defense was coming with the issue that they want the DPP, Nurdin Haji, to remove one of the prosecution counsels, and that's Catherine Moneki, who has been following this specific issue. And so the defense want her to be removed, citing several reasons, including the fact that they say there is misconduct, and that they also say that there has been personal issues that have been brought into this case. And so that's what the defense was asking for. But then again, as I've mentioned, it's a case that has a lot of intrigue. So Justice Luka Kimaru had that, and then he moved it, referred it to Justice Jessie Lesit to continue hearing that matter. She's actually even looking at an application that has similar grounds to this one of city lawyer Asa Nyakundi. And so at that time, it has been moved to Justice Jessie Lesit, but she again has moved it back to Justice James Wakiaga. And so on the 18th, because it has been moved to the 18th of this month, and so Justice James Wakiaga will be hearing that specific case. The application by the defense is mainly they are challenging the powers of DPP Nurdin Haji to withdraw manslaughter charges to murder charges. They are insisting that that should not happen, that instead the manslaughter charges should be heard first, and then perhaps a second case with regards to the murder charges. Now, something else that's interesting, Zainab, is the fact that the DPP has indicated that he intends to take this case to Chief Justice. He actually wants to take it to the Chief Justice, and he wants the Chief Justice to come up with a team of 3 judges. So that's a 3-judge bench. He wants the Chief Justice to do that. He says, and that's the DPP, he says that this specific case has a lot of issues which raises fundamental issues with regards to law, and it cannot be heard by one judge. And so as we know right now is that the DPP wants the CJ to be brought into this matter, and then for it to become a 3-judge bench to actually listen to this specific case. And you mentioned, Zainab, that it's something we're looking at, and so definitely in subsequent bulletins we'll get a little bit more updates on what's going on.
All right, Mel Miendo, of course, keeping an eye on that story as it continues to develop. Now, the Ministry of Education officials are currently holding a meeting with the Nairobi school management regarding an alleged incident of bullying. The incident involves a Form 2 student from Nairobi school who was allegedly beaten by his schoolmates and currently undergoing treatment. Our reporter Helen Wanjoy is along Wayaki Way, where the school is located, and she brings us the latest. Helen, what exactly is going on at the school at this particular moment?
Yes, Zainab, we've been here since 10 a.m. in the morning. Now, what exactly that's happening right now is there is a closed door meeting with the Ministry of Education officials. They are still discussing on the matter. When we arrived, just a few minutes after we arrived, we saw 4 members from the Teachers Service Commission leaving. So I guess they had a meeting, but they will be coming back. The meeting is scheduled to end at 2 p.m. So we will be giving you more reports about that meeting and the details. As of now, all journalists have been blocked from the school. As you can see, we're outside the gate. We're not able to access the school to know what exactly they're talking about, what exactly is happening. So we are here outside just on standby to know what they're going to talk about after they leave the meeting. Now, just to give you a brief account of what actually happened, the student was beaten, was a Form 2 pupil, and the parent was called by the school. He was in the school clinic. The parent was called by the school and told that he has a headache. And apparently when the parents went to the hospital, they were told that he has a problem with his brain. He's meant to undergo surgery. From unconfirmed reports, the surgery is happening right now and is about to finish. We still do not know details about which hospital, the student's name, or where exactly it's happening, or to the extent of the injury. So we will be giving you more details as they come. So as of now, we're just outside the school. We're waiting on what the Ministry of Education will say, what the officials will tell us, and then we'll be giving you more brief about that.
All right, Helen Wanjoy, of course, we will be expecting more details from that alleged brutality of a Form 2 student at the Nairobi school. Now, oil transportation from Lokichar Oil Basin was disrupted on Monday after members of a group calling itself Turkana South and East Drivers Association demanded employment. The group wants the Oil Movers Limited, a company contracted by the national government in oil transportation, to offer employment to members of the group and the larger community. For nearly 2 hours, the trucks were parked along the Lokichar Road after the protesters barricaded the road. The protesters threatened to completely block oil transportation in the area. A meeting between the local community and owners of the Oil Movers Limited was immediately agreed upon to solve the crisis.
Tangu hapo awali tumekuwa tukiengage mpaka kwa serikali. Mambo yetu iko kwa county government. Mambo yetu iko kwa national government. Hakuna mtu anajaribu kufuatilia hayo mambo. Kwa sasa leo tumeamua haki yetu lazima tuitafute.
Mlete malalamiko yenu hapa. Nakumbuka karibu mwezi mmoja mbili iliyopita. Na vile mlete malalamiko tukaongea pamoja. Nikawaeleza ya kuwa kuna kamati ambaye imekuwa kasede inaitwa County Grievance Handling Committee. Sivyo?
So you've probably seen them on the streets of Nairobi or even paid them to ferry your goods from various bus stations in the capital city. Well, Moses Mukabi Ambila ferries goods for a living, working from Nyamakima along the busy River Road. Take a look at his story.
28-year-old Mukabi's childhood dream was to become a teacher, just like his father. He never imagined that he would be earning his livelihood by using a cart to ferry goods for people in the busy roads of the city. Life took a U-turn when his dad, who was the only breadwinner in the family, passed on. Moses at the time was in Form 3 and had to drop out of school. He then started to engage in small-scale farming, focusing mainly on growing kales to earn a living. The returns were not much, and he made a decision to try and find greener pastures in Nairobi. In Nairobi, the grass was not any greener after all. He tried his hands on several menial jobs. After saving some little money, he acquired a cart to enable him carry more goods at once.
Kati niliingililia hapa, challenge ya kwanza nilipatiwa mzigo, si ndio? Na mtu amenipatia mzigo, sikujua nimebeba nini. Kuangalia kata ameshaniwekea nimebeba, nikakuta nimeshasonga mbele, nimefika penye amenituma na ndani haikuwa mzigo, ilikuwa ndani mawe. Nikakuwa challenge kwa mawe.
He starts his day at 6 a.m. and ends it at 6 p.m. Business is unpredictable. On a good day, he makes between 400 and 600 shillings. But once in a while, he makes at least 1,200.
Kwa muda ambao nimekaa naye, nimeona akifanya kazi mzuri. Kazi yake ni shwari, ni mwaminifu na ni mtiifu.
He says he has over 20 reliable clients dealing with him. In fact, they only speak on phone and that they have never met. With this job, he has been able to build a shelter back home and has a dream of owning a cereal store in the near future.
Moses' secret in succeeding in this job is by being loyal and respectful to his clients. Judith Cherono, NTV.
Quite an inspiration here. Now listen to this next story. So life sometimes presents major challenges that push people down. One 50-year-old woman from Nairobi experienced such challenges, but her story is about how she refused to stay down. Cecilia Nambuya, a former street mother, has decided to go back to school. She's an artist, and the little money she earns from the drawings is used to pay her fees.
50-year-old Cecilia Nambuya is a Form 3 student at St. Peter's Clever's Adult Education Center. She previously lived in the streets where she became an alcoholic before picking up her pieces. Like her entire life, schooling at 50 years is also a challenge.
Leo sikuwa class. Nilifukuzwanga kitambo kidogo juu ya school fees. Pia tena challenges ya chakula. Kasa hizi saa zingine school fees nikikosa ninapenda class na nafikiria kitu naweza hata uza nikiwa nayo ndio nilipe shule.
She was raised by her stepmother and did not get a chance to better her life from an early age. At 20, she got married. 12 years and 5 children later, her husband died. She was then chased away from her home.
Nilikuwa mlevi mbaya sana hata kushinda wengine wote wa street family.
Her children were later taken from her and placed in children homes.
Mpaka leo nimeishi tu peke yangu. Saa ingine nakojeka sana, sina mtu ananitembelea. Watoto wanaishi huko wakiwa wadogo mpaka leo. Sijaiona watoto wangu, huonanga tu kwa shule, natamani ni watume wafurahie tu, hata mimi nawapenda, lakini inakuwa ngumu. Au wadogo wawili wakiniona wanatorokanga. Wanasema huyu sio mama yetu.
She currently draws portraits for a living. Cecilia is hopeful that just like her drawings, her life will one day turn out into something beautiful. Nayoma Sampao, NTV.
Well, quite an inspiration story there once again. Now, Chairman of the Transport Committee at the National Assembly, David Kosing, has said that his committee is going to summon officials from the Kenya Ports Authority and the Kenya Maritime Authority to explain to members how Maersk Shipping Company got the monopoly over berths 13 and 14 at the port of Mombasa. Kosing was speaking in Kilindini during the launch of Bandari Maritime Academy.
Some shipping lines are moving from their mandate in doing business into interfering with how this country runs its affairs. And I want to know at what level, for example, what legal structures have been in place, or what was Maersk using to be able to dominate and monopolize the coast. What structures are there? We want Kenya Ports Authority to come and tell my committee this is how they have been actually working. We want the law, we want the MOU, we want the legal structures, we want the MOU or the contract.
Michael Wanjala Makoha has officially taken the reins of Nzoia Sugar Company as the managing director, replacing Michael Kulundu, who died in March. Wanjala, an accountant by profession, is expected to turn around the troubled miller. His appointment came as a surprise amid expectations that Bungoma County Agriculture Executive Patrick Koi would be named the new MD because he reportedly emerged the best during the recruitment interview. Nzoia, however, has insisted that the recruitment was above board and competitive.
That we have 973 permanent staff and thousands of others who are on casual and temporal terms. I want to thank them for the work they have done and assure them that from this moment henceforth, their welfare will be my #1 priority. I want to look straight in the eyes of the farmers, those who grow cane, and assure them that perhaps we have had challenges and we own up to them. But this is a beginning of a new era. We will do whatever it takes to pay and pay them in time. We request of them to then assure us with their cane. Because if we have no raw materials, then really we have no sugar to produce.
The introduction of interest rate caps in 2016 has crowded out resources from the private sector, leading to a non-inclusive economic growth. The State of the Banking Industry report released by the Kenya Bankers Association shows 2018, the Kenya economy is estimated to have grown by 6.3%, even as the number of formal jobs generated by the economy fell to a 6-year low, leaving experts questioning the growth figure reported by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics.
Traditionally, banks should be making money from financial intermediation, but as you saw in the report and the presentation earlier today, commercial banks are making money through holding government securities, which in a sense has created this lack of inclusivity in economic growth in the economy. So I think we need to intensify reforms on the interest rate cap. We need to make the private sector an engine of growth again.
Growth of credit in the private sector is not that substantial, and yet we are seeing the economy growing. That points to one thing, that if indeed the growth of credit in the private sector was to be at optimal level, then we are most likely going to see the economy moving closer to what you can call its optimal level of operation or full capacity of operation. But as it is right now, we are seeing a situation where the economy is operating at what you can call a negative output gap.
Police officers are on the hunt for a man who is accused of kidnapping and defiling a 2-year-old girl in Chumani in Kilifi County. Kilifi North Sub-County Police Commandant Njoroge Ngigi says the suspect went into hiding after the Thursday evening attack. The minor's mother said the suspect took her daughter to his house after she asked him to babysit. Haki Africa's Rapid Response Officer Matthias Shipeta said many young girls fall victim because of misconceptions. Shipeta asked the public to give information to the police on the whereabouts of the suspect.
Nachoomba mimi ni serikali iniunge mkono, nisaidie niweze kupata haki, manake huyo ndo mtoto wangu wa kwanza, na vile ninavyong'ang'ana na huyo mtoto Mungu mwenyewe ndo anajua.
Sisi kwetu ni kutoa wito kwa serikali, haswa idara ya usalama polisi, kuhakikisha kwamba aliyefanya kitendo hichi anaweza kushikwa na kupelekwa kotini ili aweze familia ya mtoto huyu iweze kupata haki. Maana si jambo la kawaida, ni jambo la kinyama.
Well, quite a sick act that is. Now, Samburu Senator Steve Lelegwe has called on the county government to provide a medical camp and basic needs like water and food to 20,000 boys who are preparing to undergo circumcision. Boys have congregated at the remote area known as Yero, where boys aged as young as 10 will undergo initiation in a 2-month-long ceremony as the man in charge travels from village to village to complete his task. Ceremony is performed without an anesthetic, yet each boy is expected to undergo the ritual with the utmost dignity. For even a flinch is said to bring great shame on himself and his family.
Ukiona watu wengi ambao wanaishi hapa hawana maji, hawana dawa, hawana chakula. Na kwa ile jukumu ambao tuko nao kama Samburu County, kama county zingine zote za Kenya, ni kuweza kulete mambo ya dawa, mambo ya afya kwa watu.
The Kitui County government employees have threatened to go on strike within 7 days to protest against unpaid June salaries. Through a joint statement by various workers' unions, the county employees say they will down their tools and paralyze services in the county on Friday if they do not get their salaries. According to the Union Secretary General Benjamin Munyalo, the workers will demonstrate to the county government's office to demand their dues. The Kenya National Union of Nurses in Kitui County also declared their solidarity.
Hatuna siasa, tunasema ya kwamba Kiali Tengilo atafute pahali atatoa mishahara alivyo wafanyakazi before 12th of this month. Failure to that sisi tutaenda kuongojea mpaka siku ile itapata hiyo pesa atapata, tukaweze kurudi kwa kazi.
When we caution this county against salary delay beyond fifth functions, that all the state unions have given this county 7 days strike notice. As from today up to Friday, 12 July 2019, failure to which we will commence our strike.
Well, another story is making headlines beyond our borders. Since coming to power last year, 42-year-old Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has shaken up decades-old power arrangements and angering some of those in the Tigrayan ethnic group. The Tigray region has had misgivings over the reforms of the Oromo ethnicity leader. There is now a call for anti-Abiy statements swells.